Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, dear students of grade 6. Today we will take the lecture of biology. Today is 29 March 2020 and the day is Sunday. Our course is Cambridge Checkpoint Science grade 6. Today we are going to take the lecture of air resistance and drag. I sent you a video before, but you had a lot of issues, so I'm going to deliver you a lecture about air resistance and drag. After this lecture, if you still have questions, you can ask me. Okay, so we will start air resistance and drag. So first of all, the main thing that you need to know is that air can move objects, because most of you are telling me that air can't move objects, but try to think that air can move objects. For example, when you turn on your fan, the paper of your book or copy or notebook, whatever, it moves, right? So the air of the fan can move the paper of your notebook, right? So air can move objects. Number 2, when you stick your hand outside the car, okay, and if your car is moving faster, you can feel that your hand is moving. If you ever stick your hand out of the car, you may have noticed that when your car goes faster, your hand moves, right? So air can move objects. Okay. So what is friction? Try to remember friction. I have told you that it is a force which slow down or stop the moving objects, right? Or it stop the objects sliding against each other. Now what is air resistance or drag? Okay, it is also a frictional force. So it is a force. Okay, so it is a force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air. Okay, is called air resistance or drag. Drag is another name for air resistance. So what is air resistance? The force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air. Okay, a force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air is called air resistance or drag. Okay, so number 1 point, the air can move objects. For example, when you stick your hand outside the car, you feel your hand is moving. Number 2, when you turn on the fan, you see that your paper of the notebook is moving. So air can move objects. So now what is air resistance? A force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air, okay, is called air resistance or drag. Now factors affecting drag. Okay, factors mean the things or the points which will affect the air resistance. Okay, so air resistance depends on surface area. Number 1, surface area, and number 2, speed. Depends, meaning of depends mean controlled by, rely on. So you can say that surface area and speed will control the air resistance or drag. Okay, I repeat that air resistance is controlled by or depend on surface area and speed. Okay, and what is air resistance and drag? The force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air is called air resistance or drag. Okay, so I told you that there are two things on which air resistance depend. Number 1, surface area. Number 2, speed. First of all, we will discuss about surface area. Okay. If something has more surface area, it has more air resistance. Okay, this is the key point. More surface area means more air resistance. For example, parachute has more surface area, so it will catch more air inside and cause more air resistance. Okay, more surface area, more air will collect inside and it will have more air resistance. Okay, let me explain this with the help of this diagram. Look, this is a parachute. Okay, this parachute, it has a lot of surface area, right? Downward it is having gravitational pull, but the air resistance is in the opposite direction of gravity always. If the gravity is applied in one direction, then in the opposite direction there will be air resistance. Look, in this parachute has a very large surface area. Okay, surface area means, okay, let me explain the surface area first. Look, I have two balls. This is one ball, this is second ball. Okay, this all is surface of this ball and this all is surface of this ball. If you try to think which one has more surface, this one has more surface, right? And this one has more surface. Oh sorry, this one has less surface. So this is called surface area. Okay, all the surface of anything is its surface area. Okay, the surface of anything is called its surface area. This ball has more surface area, this ball has less surface area. When you see a parachute, this parachute has lot of surface area, right? This parachute has lot of surface area, so more air will go inside the parachute and it will cause more air resistance, because I have told you that more surface area means more air resistance. So this parachute has more surface area and it will have more air resistance, and due to this air resistance, what air resistance will do? It will slow down the moving objects through the air. Okay, so the parachute will move through the air and this air resistance will slow down the parachute. This is how this man will land on the earth easily. Okay, I will repeat. This parachute has a lot of surface area, so it can collect more air inside and will have more air resistance, because more surface area means more air resistance. Now it will have more air resistance means air resistance will slow down this parachute. This is how this man can land on the earth safely. Next, see, this man is skydiving. Okay, this man is, the position of this man is like he's laying on the bed, so it has more surface area of his body. So more surface area, more air resistance, so it will slow down this man and he will open the parachute and then he will land on the earth safely. Next, see, if you have an umbrella, okay, if you have an umbrella and air comes, what will happen? The umbrella will try to escape from your grip, right? Umbrella will try to go away from your hand, right? It will try to escape from the grip. Why? Because of the air resistance. Because there is lot of air resistance, these air molecules or air is trying to get the umbrella out of your hand. So umbrella is trying to escape from the grip because there is a lot of air resistance and gravity is applied in the opposite direction. So first point is that air resistance depends on surface area. If there is more surface area, there is more air resistance or drag. Now, the second thing is speed. Our air resistance depends on speed. Okay, when there is more speed, there is more air resistance. So it's very simple that more speed means more air resistance. For example, if you have ever ride a bicycle, you may have experienced that when you drive your bicycle faster, you experience that air is pushing you, right? Air is trying to push you. This is because of air resistance, because air is actually trying to push you in the opposite direction. Okay. Look, here in this diagram, you can see that gravity is in the opposite direction. Okay. Gravity is applied downwards. You are moving in this direction, and air resistance is applied in the opposite direction. Air resistance is applied to the opposite of the movement. When you are on the ground, if you are moving in the right, the air resistance will applied on the left, because it will try to stop you. Okay, if this cyclist is going toward this direction, okay, and air resistance is applied in this direction. Okay, why? Because the cyclist is moving with more speed, and if there is more speed, there will be more air resistance, right? Look, in this picture you can see that there is a feather, right? There is a feather floating, but it has very less speed, right? It will fall on the ground with a very less speed. So less speed means less air resistance, less drag. Okay, this picture is very important. You know what is a vacuum? A vacuum is a space where there is no air molecules. Okay, see here, this is a vacuum, this is normally air in our environment. Okay, this ball has more, this ball will fall with more speed, and this feather will fall with less speed. Why? Because there are air molecules in between here. But in this picture, this is a vacuum, there are no air molecules, but this will fall with the same speed as the feather, because there are no air molecules in between here. Okay, so more speed means more drag. Okay, this is about, I will repeat the whole lecture for you again. So air can move objects. Now I think you all agree that air can move objects, because fan can move the paper. When you stick your hand outside the car, you feel that your hand is moving due to air. Okay, so what is air resistance or drag? Drag is another name for air resistance. If you say air resistance, if you say drag, both are same things. Okay, so what is air resistance or drag? A force that slows down the objects that are moving through the air is called air resistance or drag. Factors affecting drag or drag is controlled by, or it relies on two things: surface area and speed. Okay, surface area, if there is more surface area, there is more air resistance. If there is less surface area, there is less air resistance. For example, parachute has more surface area, so it will catch more air and cause more drag. Look at this picture. This parachute has a large surface area, and it will collect more air inside, and it will have a greater air resistance. So if anything has a more air resistance, it means that it will try to slow down the object, because that's what friction is. Look, what is the friction? That friction, a force that slow down the objects that are moving through the air. So greater air resistance means that it will slow down this parachute, and this person will come easily and slowly on the ground. This picture is showing that if this man is in the standing position, then he will have less surface area and less air resistance. But this person's position is like he is lying on the bed, so he has more surface area of the body. Okay, I will tell you again what is surface area. This is a ball and this is the second ball. This is the surface of the ball. This ball has less surface. This ball has more surface. So what is surface area? The whole of the surface of anything is called its surface area. So this person is in the lying condition, like he is laying on the bed. So he has more surface area, so he has more air resistance, and this will slow him down and he will fall easily on the ground with the, of course, with the help of a parachute. This picture is showing you that if you are holding an umbrella has a lot of surface area. When air comes, okay, what will happen? The umbrella will try to escape from your hand. Why? Because air molecules is trying to push the umbrella out of your hand, because it has more surface area, so it is experiencing more air resistance. Okay. So air resistance is mostly applied opposite to the gravity or opposite to your movement. Number one, I have told you that drag depends on two things. Number one, surface area. Number two, speed. Here, drag depends on speed. More speed, more drag. Less speed, less drag. For example, when the cyclist is moving with a greater speed, he will have more drag. Okay, and if you stick your hand out of the car, you will see that if your car is moving faster, you will experience more drag, more air resistance on your hand, like air is trying to move your hand. In this picture, you can see that this cyclist is moving in the left side, and air resistance is applied on the right side, because more speed, more air resistance. This feather is floating very slowly, so it has less speed, and if it has less speed, it will have less air resistance. But still it falls very slowly on the ground. It is because of its weight, because it has very less weight. This picture is showing you that objects fall at different speed in air. You can see that this has more surface area, this has less surface area, and of course the weight of this is also greater than this, so it will fall with more speed and it will fall with less speed. Why? Because there are air molecules in between. But in this picture, it's a vacuum. Vacuum is a place where there is no air molecules, so if you remove all this air, they will both fall in the with the same speed. So this is all about air resistance or drag. If you still have any questions, you can ask me in the Google Classroom, or you can even WhatsApp me. I hope that this is all clear.